in Pyongyang. When I came to the countryside, I saw that there was children starving in the hospitals, lying there without any food, without any medicine, and in a condition that moved my heart. So I was upset, and I thought I have to change my attitude, maybe. You can stay in North Korea for 10 years and you will not get the real picture. Normally you are guided around and there are all the monuments and all the official tours, and then you will go to this monument and there will be staged things. All the children are lined up, even a little bit of makeup and some lipstick, and then they are cheering, thank you, kamsahamnida, for the food donation. I wondered, is this the real picture? Because when you are an emergency doctor, sometimes there are emergency cases, and you have to rush into an hospital with the bloody victim of any accident on your back. So I rushed into the hospital, and then there was no medicine anymore. There was no food. We just donated the other day or the week before. I wondered, what's going on here? Where's all the international aid, the German aid, the Canadian aid, the American aid, with American flags still on the bag, on it? Where is it? Where has it gone? My colleagues, they told me, Norbert, you are an idiot. And they were right. Norbert, you are so naive. My colleagues, they were from former East Germany. They told me that I never experienced, me from West Germany, and that I maybe never experienced corruption. A communist state where everybody is going to look for his own. He must, in order to survive. They told me that this is, like in East Germany, a mafia-style society. That there are starving children in the countryside, and the elite in Pyongyang, in this showcase city, is enjoying a nice lifestyle. And I went in order to prove it. I went to the black market. I saw rice bags sold there with the American flag still on it. I saw our medicine sold in a hotel. I saw pullovers we donated, German donation to the kindergartens. I saw this pullovers sold in a diplomatic shop. As a physician, you are living there in Pyongyang in the international community. You are living in the diplomatic compound, and there are many, many colleagues of yours from WFP, from the World Food Program, World Health Program, from other organizations. And I, as a physician, I'm a general physician, but my hobby, so to say, was psychological advice. What happened in Pyongyang was I was often asked for psychological advice. Some of my colleagues from WFP or the World Food Program asked me when they were in trouble to get help. There was one guy who wanted to commit suicide because he couldn't stand it anymore, that something is going wrong in this country with the food donation, and he was not able to tell his head office. Otherwise, he will get in trouble. There was one member of ACF, that's a French organization. She wanted to quit because a milk kitchen in the north of North Korea was not able to donate milk to the ordinary people because it was forbidden by the government. Because those people in the northern part there, they were not obedient anymore. So she eyewitnessed an uprising. She was not allowed to speak out about this in front of journalists, for example, to speak out in front of her office back in Paris. So I was a psychological advisor for some of those people who simply collapsed. They had a nervous breakdown because they couldn't stand it anymore. To lie to their head office, to lie to the world by what they were doing there. Only then I realized that after 1.5 years, only then I realized that Kim Jong-il is really using food as a weapon against his own people. So I changed totally my attitude. I thought I have to inform the world about this. I have to take the pictures. I moved around. I took a video. It's also included in your package. I took all those pictures in these books. And I invited some journalists for a private tour. When Miss Albright was in town in North Korea in 2000, she was accompanied by so many journalists, CNN, BBC, whatever. So I invited them for a private tour. I have my driving license, why not? 12 of them, and I guided them around. And I showed them the Pyongyang Mrs. Albright didn't see. That was the headline of the article next day in the Washington Post. So that was quite an offense for the North Korean authorities. I was expelled. I was threatened to get expelled immediately, but I was saved by a protest of my head office, of the German Foreign Ministry. So I was allowed to stay. I documented all what happened then in many, many diaries. I took many pictures. I took all the video. And I wrote a protest, a statement of humanitarian principles. I gave it to Tony Hall, a U.S. congressman, when he was in town. The next week, I found a dead soldier on the middle of the road. He was malnourished, maybe 17, 18 years old. He was looking like a 10-year-old boy. He was beaten. I'm not an expert for torture. I'm a general physician. But my colleague from East Germany, former East Germany, she was a member of Amnesty International. She took care for long-term prisoners in Bautzen, in East German prison camp. She was. And she told me, Norbert, look, here are cigarette burns. Here he was beaten. Here he was whipped. I wanted to take, I'm naive, I'm an idiot. I wanted to take a picture, and I was immediately not arrested, but friendly, taken beside, and then my camera was confiscated. Of course, the film was eliminated, and that was the end of my friendship. I was expelled. In December 2000, I was expelled. Instead of going home, doing business like usual, I went to South Korea. I gave interviews, I wrote 4 books so far, and I gave interviews to the journalists, I gave lectures. I wanted to inform the world, mainly the South Korean students, the younger generation, the churches. But as a German, of course, I also know about German history and the impact of refugees. I thought, maybe I have to get the real picture. Maybe I have to go to China. I heard about North Korean refugees. When I was inside North Korea, I never had any idea about refugees. Of course, I never was allowed to go to any concentration camps like Ms. Kim was in. So I had no idea. I was naive. I was invited by some activists to go to China, to the Chinese-North Korean border. There I met many, many refugees. I interviewed them. Mainly I took medical care, of course, but I also spoke to them. I interviewed them via translator. I went to Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand. I gave refugee assistance more and more. I stayed at least 7 years in South Korea and Southeast Asia in order to take care for the people. I realized that I really do not know nothing in North Korea. Inside North Korea, you cannot get the real picture. You have to have witnesses like Mrs. Kim. I learned about the power of the media, too. I believe in publicity stunts. Therefore, we decided, how can we inform the world? You know about nowadays media, they are in need for a breaking story. So we decided to storm some Western embassies. It worked out with the East German refugees in Prague and Hungary, so maybe it also will work out for the North Koreans. So we stormed the Spanish embassy in Beijing with 27 refugees in front of CNN. Maybe it worked. I went to the Tumen River. I saw all these dead corpses in the river. I saw people who were shot there at the border. I was shocked again, and more I realized that North Korea is a failed state, is led by a mafia clan, and